this opportunity. Yes, Women's Day, but 9 out of 10 teachers are women. So I don't want to celebrate, thank, appreciate, and glorify. You're doing an amazing job, but men are the minority here. So I thought if I am given a chance to address the teachers and principals and academicians responsible for taking care of the next generation of children, particularly in the age of AI, I should do whatever I can do coming from the software industry to convey to you some of the thoughts that we ourselves are collecting as parents, as grandparents, some of us, about what should be and what shouldn't be probably the focus of the next age of education. So bear with me, 6 different chapters, each a little tidbit might ring a bell to some of you. I'm happy if you will take home 2 or 3 points. Let me get started. The first thing to understand is AI is not new. It is not 5 years old, not 10, 15, 20, 30, 50. It is 70 years old. Some of us don't realize that. It is 70 years old. There have been 2 AI hype cycles. They called it a AI winter, actually. Everything went cold. Nobody respected AI anymore. Twice! And the reason why AI is being talked about so much now is 3 things are coming together. And to give a motor car analogy, the first thing is data. Everywhere we are collecting data. You think you have an Android phone, you've been seated here for the past 2 hours, at least 25 to 40 data points Google and Facebook have been collecting about you, including the strength of the Wi-Fi, the battery percentage you have, the motion that you have given to that device, and so on and so forth. So data, they have been collecting silently all the way from 1999 if you want to look at Google, all the way from 2007 if you want to look at Facebook. This data is now becoming the oil, the fuel. That is what is powering it. The second that's coming together, 3 things. The second is the processor part. For a very long time, only gamers had very powerful machines. Some of your sons, I don't know why girls didn't play as many action games that required such processors. But those sons who were holed up in the garage or in the underground, living on Red Bull and pizzas and playing action games, you should actually thank them. Because these NVIDIA chips are now being repositioned for crunching the data that we have been collecting all these years. And that is the engine, the processor, the engine of the car. The third is the algorithm, because you can have amazing data, you can have amazing engines, but you need to know where to take it forward, what insights to derive. And that also, in recent times, you must have heard of all the amazing advances happening. One of them being ChatGPT's original concept of attention neural networks being the most important thing. And this is the reason, like Triveni Sangamam, these 3 have come together, and we are lucky to be in that era of human technology. All right, I want to introduce this guy to you. He has made an amazing TED talk. He is a creative agency owner. He's a startup entrepreneur, manages a creative agency. He gave a TED talk, and it left a lasting impression in my mind, and I want you to watch it when you go home. He talks about how his creative agency, that advertising agency, was making a lot of money, getting a lot of customers. Everything was amazing except that little corner in his heart where something seemed missing. There wasn't that original thirst for doing something new, doing something creative, getting out of the box, really, getting those amazing leaps of understanding and leaps of creativity. He was doing great work. He was getting a lot of good money. Not good enough, he thought. And he looked at his own life and the life of so many people around him, and he saw that they were following this path. Up to 25, you learn. Then you work based on what you learned. Very few of us actually learn during this phase. And then we retire. Gold watch, TV, filter coffee, settle down in easy chair until we die. Some of us live past 80. This guy said, why should we retire after finishing our work? Because these days, I need to learn while I'm working. And why don't I do this? He split up his retirement and sprinkled it throughout his working life. Once every 6 years, he said, I am going to take a 1 year sabbatical. 1 year, no work. If you visit his website during that Ajnata Vasam, that 1 year, it will say this. Hello, you have reached. We are conducting a full year of experiments on our own money. We'll be back on September 1st. Call us then. The interesting, paradoxical thing here is people waited. Because that was what he brought to the table. Not this guy, too. This guy also. Ferran Adria is credited to be the Michelin world's best chef. And he takes 2 weeks off every 13 months. And those 2 weeks, his restaurant's door is closed. Again, try booking a table in his restaurant. He is overbooked till 2027. Get a message there? This is from the Red Queen in Alice in Wonderland. She says, it's hard to get a little better when you want to be consistently good. Very few of us take our I know everything hat off and become a learner, a true learner. If you remember that scene, Lord Muruga, Shiva, remember that scene? Jnana Upadesam, Om, Pranava Mantra. That moment, I think teaches a lot of us an important lesson. Be ready to become the learner once again. So if I have to summarize one lesson for us all as teachers, it would be this. So teachers, the most important time of the year, it's the time in between two cohorts. So what are you doing? Are you taking that cruise, that vacation, that time when everything coincides and this is the time I can actually free myself, let me do this, let me do that? People even line up weddings during that time because that's the only time I get. No, you are actually more busy. You are actually going to be more productive during the rest of the year if you spend this time carefully. Outside the classroom, with yourself. The next chapter is this guy. You all know him? You should. Yuval Noah Harari is his name. Orator, thinker, philosopher, writer, futurist. And he has written a beautiful, beautiful book. One of many books he has written. This book is called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. And one of that is about education. I had brought more slides. I had to remove 2 slides because they were incendiary. They would have set this room on fire. He talks about teachers, derogatory. Not me, he. I'm a teacher myself. But he does that. I removed those 2 slides. It's just one chapter in this 21 chapter book. Go figure it out. But the safer slides, here you go. Large concrete building divided into many identical rooms, each room equipped with rows of desks. At the sound of a bell, all born the same year as you, like Rukmini man told just a while ago. Every hour, some grown-up walks in, all paid to do so by the government. One of them tells you about Earth's shape, another tells you about the past, and the third tells you about the human body. What has changed in 60 years, he asks. What has changed in 600 years, I ask. No viable alternative, not scalable, he refers to India, rural India. And this is pre-ChatGPT, this book. So don't rely on the adults too much. Most of them mean well, but they just don't understand the world. The 21st century is going to be different. You can never be certain whether it is timeless wisdom or unconscious bias, outdated bias. You all know Harari advising children of the next generation about beware of adults. But he means well. He means well. People follow him. I have great respect for him. His most recent book is called Nexus, which is about life in the age of AI. He wants us a lot. Get to know your OS better, he said. Know what you are, what you want from life, because now you have serious competition. We are living in the era of working humans. The OS there is operating system. And he talks about your personal operating system. What motivates you? What boosts you up? What's your ikigai? What keeps you awake? What lets you feel content even if you're not paid as much? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself, because he says this question, who am I, has been noti soiton, is the Greek phrase, I think. This has been around for 5,000 years. But the only thing that's changed is today you have competition. Get what he means? He says today Facebook wants to know who you are. Google also wants to know who you are. OpenAI wants to know who you are. And you haven't understood who you are, you're in trouble. That's the message. So as teachers, probably beyond the books and other knowledge that we probably are competing with ChatGPT to impart to our children, introspection, reflection, understanding true motives, what can we do is probably something we should probably first do it ourselves and then teach our students to do for themselves. The next chapter is this guy. Again, too many. Yeah, this guy is Seth Godin. Again, futurist, blogger. He blogs once a day. What do you do once a day, every day, for 8,900 days, other than brushing teeth and taking bath? 8,900 blog posts. One a day. Still counting. Okay, this man talks about something called zooming. And I want to leave this behind as an exercise or as something that you take up on yourselves and your children from today. What is zooming? He says that algorithm is figuring you out and you need to break out of the algorithm. What's the algorithm? Don't be a data slave, he says. Once in a while at least, switch off Google Maps when you're coming to a place. That is social knowledge. She won't give you directions until you give her money for one madam pool. That is social learning. Understanding, navigate by the stars, learn directions. Children have lost the understanding of northwest today.
Right, left. Even right, left.
Right, left today. So switch off Google Maps, he says. Here is another tip. He says, talk gibberish to Alexa once in a while. Okay? Play and it will start playing something and you'll be shocked. It will be some amazing Uzbekistan sounds you would have never heard. Also, you would never go looking for. Also, the algorithm will never prescribe it to you because this is something you may also like because you liked all this. You're becoming a data slave. So get out, he says. Here is another example. I learned that my sister is a teacher and military school, and only when I visited her and wanted to watch Netflix, I opened it up, and the recommendations were nothing like the recommendations I used to get at home. Everything was different. Oh, logged in user. Let me log out. Oh my God. All of these, including Amazon, Netflix, Facebook, they are giving you more of what you like. No parent, no teacher would want that for our children. More of what you like. No, ice cream no. So he says, log out of Netflix. Try something unusual. Korean drama. Here. Here is another. Okay, go to a random bookshop, not the official solid bookshops in the city, but the street side bookshop, second-hand bookshop. Pick up a random row, random column, random book, random chapter, random page, random line. Read it. It may not be even your domain, but this is needed. He calls it zooming. Why does he call it zooming and what's important about zooming? He says you cannot prepare for change. You have to incorporate change every day in your life so that when the demand comes, it is just another drill for you. That's the only way you can fight and win over this Matra Mundre Maradadu thing. Eleanor Roosevelt, it seems she said, a poet, do something every day that you're mortally afraid of. Every day. For some of us, it would be public speaking. For some of us, it would be telling the truth. But do something every day that I'm mortally afraid of. I have two bits of advice, three for learners. We are all learners, not just the children we teach. If you want to thrive in the age of AI, the first is, look at this news item. AI outperforms teleophthalmologists in glaucoma detection. Aravind Eye Hospital study. Today, better than a doctor, you can give an X-ray to a AI and it will tell you whether the patient is going to have the problem or not. Better than. But the lesson we learn from this is the AI reached there not by 1 or 2 or 10 attempts. It has done 1 million attempts. 999,999 of them have been wrong. So celebrate mistakes. Celebrate excellent mistakes, because excellent mistakes are different from mistakes. Excellent mistakes are those that teach you a lesson more valuable than what you have lost on the mistake. That is what this AI has done. This AI, with no ego, no sense of, I am making a mistake, I am sorry, master. It just kept at it millions of times and then it became a platform. How many of us celebrate mistakes in ourselves and in our children? How many of us allow them to take risks, commit those mistakes? And what is the lesson you have learned? Somebody once said, I think it was Dhoni, he said, sometimes I win, other times I learn. Powerful. That's lesson number 1. If you are wanting to compete in the age of AI, mistakes panni kuvikkanum. Tholachu tallano. The second is this. All of you must have seen this. Google Maps. Ratta aaru apdiye odittu. Yeah, you must have seen this surely. Where does that blood come from? How does it suddenly identify that it's in the middle of a traffic jam? Normal road. But suddenly red. Why? 75 other Android phones are around you in similar cars, and all of them, AI is not every computer. AI is one computer up there. And all these are feeding information to it and sharing information back. That is why they win. In the age of AI, one robot versus one man kadayadu. One big, huge super intelligence versus all man, every man. So if you want to really thrive in this age, you need to learn that sharing is the new way to learn. It's not competing, it's not hiding, it's not hoarding, it's not keeping away from everybody else. I have patented this. No. Share. Because when you share what you know, the other person shares what they know. Something comes beautiful, amalgamates, and something much more beautiful has a chance to be born. In fact, they say about ideas, they are worthless in the brain they started in. அது பழைக்கணும்னா இன்னொரு brainல transplant பண்ணணும். நாத்து நடுற மாதிரி அப்படின்னு they say. This is the second lesson. Because AI, the driverless car today is possible only if each driverless car was limited to its own brain. It will still be running circles around a nursery plot somewhere. That grew so fast only because that driverless car in Australia is teaching this driverless car in Gumidipudi. If you want to survive, you better know to share too. The third lesson is, you must have heard of this thing, right? Left hand. Modi ji said, very interesting, he gave a keynote lecture in AI conference in Paris, and he started his talk by saying, AI kuch nahi. This is not true intelligence. Try challenging your ChatGPT to generate a picture of a person signing with his left hand. They couldn't. Even now, after all these months, it couldn't. Because it has been trained on millions of pictures of people signing. Most of us are right-handed, just like most teachers are women. In fact, we should try that. Generate a picture of a teacher teaching in a classroom is a male. Because the thing I am taking away from here is, this is a dumb, it's not intelligence, this is a dumb little program trained on what's already there. But the lesson I take away for a learner is it's not ashamed. Today, if you ask AI for some deep mathematical problems, it will make a silly mistake in addition. You must have seen it. You must have warned your math students, "Arey, don't believe ChatGPT, cross check." And you know why? Because the program itself doesn't skate towards the end goal, it celebrates the journey. Its focus is on perfecting the process. What is my process of learning? Can I make this better? It obsesses over the process so much, the end result takes care of itself. ChatGPT 4.5 is far better than ChatGPT 3 because of that. If you obsess about the end goal, like marks, like degrees, like accolades, or whatever, the process suffers. The process becomes whatever it takes. The process becomes cheating, bending rules. The process doesn't hand over to the next generation. So if you want to, once again, beat these AI machines at their game, you need to obsess, just like they do, about the process and let the end goal take care of itself. So these are the 3 lessons. All right, 2 examples from the near future. One, teaching maths. I recently experienced this. I watched a video. I met a friend who was doing this. Welcome to the world of hyper customization. Every student has its own, her own, his own tutor, math tutor. Outside, there is an Evolve booth. Some of you are here from Evolve. There's a booth. Yeah. Evolve booth. They are talking about adaptive learning and mathematics being taught to a child. It's not at one level. It is at the level of the child. I'll give complex problems to the math whiz. I'll give very simple problems to the just learner. But it doesn't stop there. Mathematics is interesting to some of us only because there is a relationship to the real world. Ram and Shyam went to the shop to buy brinjal. Remember those small problems? All of us do. But some of us don't like going to the shop. Some of us instead like keeping track of cricket scores. So this AI, the power of the AI, crafts its problems based on the domain in the real world you are interested in. உனக்கு காய்கறி problem, உனக்கு cricket problem, உனக்கு tennis problem. Interesting. Possible right now, today. Here is another. Public speaking. All of us want to speak, but most of us are afraid, shy, afraid of what others will think, and so on. And there is this beautiful app, AI powered, where you can face it on the computer. It records your audio. It watches your eye movement. It tracks how many times you smile. It looks at your body gestures. It looks for filler words and gives you a report. It transcribes. It looks for Tamil to English jumps and tracks all that and gives you this AI can also do. You use these sentences to convey this message. Next time, try these sentences instead. Generative AI. These are the tools that you can use today in your classroom. Away from the spotlight, in your private room, sit with the computer, no peer evaluation happening, one-on-one. These are amazing tools. My last bit, I guess, 2 closing thoughts. Number 1, long ago, 50,000 years ago, probably more than that, we won this game primarily because of the brain that we have. We weren't the fastest animal, we weren't the tallest animal, we weren't the strongest animal, we couldn't stay underwater, we couldn't climb trees. In fact, we had the longest I had to be with mom period across all the animal kingdom. It seems a giraffe, the first thing a giraffe experiences is a 7-foot drop. Think about it. 7-foot drop. Every giraffe பிறந்த உடனே 7 அடியில தூக்கி போடுறாங்க. A deer has to be able to run on its own feet, take care of itself within minutes because the hyenas are waiting. Hyenas look for young deer, baby deer. நம்ம ஆளுங்க 24 months, 3 years. But that brain, the ability to save for the future, communicate with others, team up, all of those didn't come from our little finger or from our biceps or from our toes of the feet. They came from our brain. And today, for the first time, we have invented a tool that's directly competing with that brain and saying, "Nee konjam vena rest eduthu." That's happening. For the first time. We could lift 100 kilos by ourselves, but anymore we needed a crane, and we were happy. Thanks. We could run 5 kilometers an hour, but to run any faster, we needed a horse, and then later a car, and then now a jet plane. We are happy. But for this, you shouldn't be happy, because you are losing the only evolutionary advantage you ever had. Are you ready for that? The second thought I want to leave with you is not that long ago. It is just about 70 years ago. This man is Isidor Rabi. He's a Nobel laureate, physics Nobel laureate. Jew, transplanted into America, migrated. And the newscaster, the interviewer asks him, "I've been looking at your locality. Most of them ended up being businessmen, lawyers, workers in factories, owners, entrepreneurs. How did you become a physicist? And Nobel Prize winning physicist? I know where you come from, the ghetto. How?" And since he immediately responded, "Hey, I got it, thanks. Mother sentiment." கடைசியில் நல்லா முடிச்சிட்டேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். You know what he said? It's all because of my mother. And what did he say? When all these children came back from school, their parents asked the children, "What did you do today? What did you win today? What did they teach today? What did you learn today?" My mother, she did something very different. She asked me, "Did you ask a good question today?" And that is the only reason I think I became a physicist. Because every day, it was all about, you think ChatGPT is the same? Sorry! Your ChatGPT is very different from mine, which is very different from yours. Because very soon, fourth question onwards, ChatGPT started playing to your vibe. It's intelligent after all. உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சது எது, நீங்க பார்த்த படம் என்ன, எல்லாம் புரிஞ்சுண்டு உங்க லெவலுக்கு இறங்கி வந்துருச்சு, அல்லது உங்க லெவலுக்கு ஏறி போயிருக்கு. But it's all dependent on the question you ask. Will we still have that art in us 10 years from now? Will we be able to ask a good question? I will leave you thinking about it. Thanks a lot.